Hello, good afternoon and welcome. I'm very pleased to be joined by Andrea Lovato. As many of you know, Andrea is Vice President in Acwa Power. Aqua Power is a huge player in the renewables industry, but equally also in desalination, which is an interesting area as we start to develop the hydrogen economy. So, Andrea, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Obviously, been lots of noise about NEOM, which is obviously the first sort of gigawatt scale project to achieve FID, and clearly Acwa Power is yet again setting a trailblazing role, as you did in utility scale solar back in the day in 2014 in terms of really hitting that cost curve, aggressively driving down costs.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts now as we sort of hopefully enter a similar phase with clean hydrogen? Are you expecting to be able to drive down and achieve some good cost reductions with clean hydrogen?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the objective that we have, is replicating what has happened before for renewables in one side. In the other aspect is doing exactly the same that happened 20 years ago with LNG export terminal. It's starting the same way. You connect the export terminal with the import terminal, long-term purchase agreement, and this was the way that you could finance this large infrastructure. Yeah. So the same happens here. This is the first example that allows to do delivery in a large scale of green hydrogen, a competitive tariff, landed at utilization. Yeah. And this is the good news for the industry. There are a lot of talks, so everybody's expecting that, but this is specific long-term transportation, long transportations. And there is the hydrogen, green hydrogen, is competitive against the diesel, in that it's we pay in Europe before the crisis. Yeah. So very good news. The second step is how you do replicate this large infrastructure to build scale. And obviously it's either you have two avenues. One, you do like in corporate financing, or you do it as industrial type of financing with a lot of risk embedded from the different parties, or you do it like it has been done for many years now, many decades here, as is done in power and water business, especially in this part of the world where there is a perfect allocation in terms of risk between the different players, and this allows the financer to finance long term, means at lower tenor. And this is what has been done with this project. Project is expected obviously to reach financial close before the end of the year. FID has been done, but financial close is in process, and financial close requires all this understanding, what is the price in the longer term, etc. So all this has been cracked and done. And we have the ambition that this is the first example to replicate in other regions. And the second one is already planned, announced for Oman. We are already working in Oman together with Air Products for the second of this project. And obviously we will look at other opportunities as well in the kingdom and outside the kingdom. What we see in terms of numbers, in terms of construction, see that it's the volume of this project will help to reduce cost. There are a lot of opportunity to reduce cost in midstream and downstream, especially for the integration of the midstream and downstream with the renewable. The nature of the renewable itself is variable, so you will need to adapt those to best collect the variability of the renewable, combine that in a lowest cost manner. Yeah. This is a process. It's a process of engineering, it's a process of understanding how the process works, etc. So this is another innovation that you can see in the business.
The lowest cost point, I think, was reiterated by your CEO this morning around how hydrogen should follow a path more akin to renewable energy in terms of not looking at setting a market price and a Henry Hub price and playing a market where you have increased volatility, etc. But really looking at low costs, adding a decent margin in to obviously recoup your return on capital. But certainly, avoiding that sort of volatility.
I think this is the expectation, at least for the first projects. I'm not sure that it will happen in the future in terms of when the market will be liquid. Right. When we will be in a liquid market, and then you will have ability to store the hydrogen, and the hydrogen will be dealt, then might be closer to what is the oil and gas business than what is the supply and demand will play in that case. But there is a difference. There is a difference that countries that they will have their own infrastructures, they will be able to, let's say, set and hedge the time in longer term, the price in longer term. So we will need to see how this will play. But for sure, initially the price is long-term fixed. will be fixed for the off-takers, and the off-takers, there will be a volume. So the first year will be certainly be as the more like the renewable than the oil and gas business.
Yeah. And I'm not sure in terms of sort of total market capacities, but clearly there are a number of sites around the world that are blessed with great wind profile, great solar profile, those diurnal deserts. We've seen a lot of noise about Namibia, obviously NEOM project, as you well know, Oman, Western Australia, Chile. A lot of these areas can produce quite huge quantities of hydrogen.
And I will put the US today, because obviously the Gulf Coast of the US, with the subsidies that have been put in the business, they will be a large production centers.
Is that green hydrogen produced on the Gulf or blue hydrogen off their shale resource?
Obviously, the first focus the US has is blue hydrogen today, but there is as well that area is also potential for green hydrogen for sure. Obviously, new capacity will come there, but obviously the first focus they have is green hydrogen. Our partners, they are also looking at the green hydrogen, obviously, and in that part of the world, and it's something that will make absolutely sense for the US with the subsidies that you have in that business.
Yeah, excellent. And I guess, are you looking to work mainly, obviously, in the MENA region? Have you got some new projects due to be announced soon? Can we see some new noise coming out of Acwa Power?
There are a lot of noise that come up. Well, let's wait the announcements. But obviously, we are believers of this energy transition. Renewable, obviously, are focusing very strongly to build capacity in the region where we operate. I will say the kingdom is also leading on that aspect now, and the same is for green hydrogen. At the end of the day, as been mentioned today in this forum, the combination of sporty energy will not be electron only, but with electron and molecules. And this is the revolution in a way that is coming ahead of us.
In terms of co-benefits, water was also mentioned this morning. Clearly, with the green hydrogen industry, there's a desalination process, particularly in the region. Do you see, some I guess, political benefits from helping to create projects that produce excess water that can maybe create, agricultural industries or greenhouses, etc., around hydrogen projects that can help, I guess, the branding or the help the clean hydrogen industry gain political capital? Do you see that as an important point to help alleviate water stress, which is clearly already existing across the region, but only going to get worse with climate?
As you know, we have in Acwa Power 3 verticals. One is of power generation, that is of renewable, and it was in the past fossil fuel. Hydrogen today, and then desalination. We are the largest desalinator in the world today, and actually the first one that brought also renewable desalination in a way, because in one of the last projects that is done in the UAE, 40% of the power for reverse osmosis comes from solar. So it's, let's say, on the way to be more sustainable. But there is no doubt that, again, this region helped the renewable cost reduction, but also helps to see that it's a region of scarcity of water, so they had to use desalination. And wanted or not, the desalination went through a process of energy optimization. So they were at the beginning, 20 years ago, desalination was thermal desalination. So there was no, people didn't care about the energy was utilized. Now the energy to produce desalination is one of the major aspects of that. There has been enormous optimization of the use of the energy, making also that process incumbent for other regions where there was scarcity of surface water, and be a solution for those countries that they will not have water anymore like in the past. So all these three aspects, they will go together. Hydrogen, as you know, the use of water in hydrogen is very limited. It's not the key component.
2-3% of the overall cost?
Much less than that. Much less than that. It depends by the size of the project, but it's not the key component, and also in terms of quantity, it's not a huge quantities, especially if you take from the sea like NEOM. The water for the NEOM project comes from the sea, it's desalinated water. So it's there will be synergetic application of this, because obviously you can do water from desalination for potable water, and the same water can be refined and used for doing hydrogen. And then I will say in the future, not now, 15 years from now, this hydrogen will be also a distributed type of hydrogen. You will have hydrogen from, you will have PV on the rooftop, and then you will have your storage eventually in the house that produce hydrogen. Hydrogen produce heating. So all these applications that are now quite mainstream for renewables will for sure move also on the hydrogen. If we can prove and produce hydrogen for $1 per kilo, and then from that point having a market that is liquid, obviously the distributed hydrogen will also become part of the mix.
In terms of desalination, again, given your expertise in the subject, is there some innovation required, particularly with brine processing or creating a brine economy, or do you see some sort of opportunities there in helping to create a proper circular economy desalination process, which
There are a lot of innovation in terms of type of membranes, type of pressure pumps and all this that will allow to reduce the specific electricity consumption for desalination, and as well the specific ratio between what you eliminate the salt, the permeate, so-called permeate, and then the concentrate. So this will be the new evolution to make desalination more, I would say, less impactful than what is today, and that is already much less than what was before 10 years ago. And then there will be also processes in perspective for using thermal desalination directly from sun, that they are doing desalination already. They are in phase of study. We also as Acwa Power study some of those processes, and being obviously the largest desalinator in the world, we have a responsibility to also push the industry and develop in that direction. But no doubt that I would say desalination will become one of the important pillar for the future, especially seeing what has happened today in Europe, in last summer in Europe, with no water, and if this repeats, it will be a necessity.
They've got water shortages in the UK, and traditionally is known as a rainy country. Which, water is obviously going to grow up our ever-growing list of environmental stresses. So but it's been fascinating to have a chat to you, Andrea. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Speaking in World Hydrogen MENA in February 2023. So we look forward to watching Acwa Power's progress with great interest. You're clearly a trailblazing company, and we look forward to helping accelerate the hydrogen economy with you. So many thanks.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.